The massive derelict drifted silently through the void, its hull scarred by 3 millennia of micrometeorite impacts. The Skitarii survey vessel, Eternal Seeker, had almost missed it. Just another piece of space debris in the vast emptiness between stars. But when initial scans revealed artificial materials of unknown origin, Captain Vexna ordered a closer look. Fascinating, the captain chittered, compound eyes fixed on the holographic display. The design is completely unlike anything in our database. Not consortium work, certainly not hive architecture. She gestured with a clawed appendage. Bring us alongside. Her crew efficiently maneuvered their sleek vessel next to the ancient hulk. Up close, its true scale became apparent. Nearly 2 kilometers of titanium alloy and composite materials arranged in aggressive, purposeful lines. Despite its obvious age, there was something intimidating about its profile. Energy readings are minimal, but present, reported Senior Technicians X. Some kind of backup power system is still functioning after all this time. Remarkable engineering. Life support. None detected. If there was ever a crew, they're long gone. Vexna's antennae twitched thoughtfully. Prepare a boarding party. Full containment protocols. We don't know what we might find in there. Hours later, Vexna watched through helmet cameras as her exploration team made their way through dark corridors. The artificial gravity still functioned at minimal levels, though emergency lighting had failed centuries ago. Their portable lights revealed hints of the ship's former grandeur, smooth walls decorated with unfamiliar symbols, spacious chambers filled with mysterious equipment. Captain, called out lead explorer Kex, you need to see this. The camera feed showed what appeared to be the vessel's bridge. And there, floating above a central pedestal, was a hologram, somehow still active after thousands of years. It showed a planet, blue and beautiful, surrounded by orbital structures that spoke of an advanced civilization. Cross-referencing with astronomical databases, Zex announced, no match found for the stellar configuration. This must be from before. Every spacefaring race knew what that meant. Before the Great Purge, when the consortium of civilized species had discovered some terrible threat and mobilized to destroy it utterly. The details had been sealed away, marked as forbidden knowledge. But everyone knew the story. A savage, dangerous species had been eliminated for the greater good of the galaxy. There's more, Kex reported. Some kind of data core. Still intact. Download everything, Vexna ordered. The consortium will want to examine. She never finished the sentence. The hologram flickered, transformed into the image of a being none of them had ever seen before, yet all instantly recognized. Bictal. Bilateral symmetry. Soft pink-brown skin. Human. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth Defense Force. The figure announced in perfect modern galactic standard. If you are viewing this message, you have found one of our sealed time capsules, and it is time for you to learn the truth. The truth, as it turned out, was far different from what the consortium had taught. Humanity hadn't been savage primitives. They had been an advanced civilization, reaching for the stars, making their first contacts with alien races. Until the consortium, fearing their rapid progress and unconventional thinking, had decided to eliminate them preemptively. But they hadn't quite succeeded. Some humans had escaped the destruction of Earth, scattering to hidden colonies, and they had left these ships, dozens of them, as silent sentinels carrying their true history and their most advanced technology, waiting to be found by their descendants. We knew we might not survive, the hologram continued, but we knew that someday humanity would rise again. This ship contains everything you need: weapons, drives, power systems far beyond what the consortium possesses. Use them wisely, use them justly, but use them to reclaim our place among the stars. In the silence that followed, Vexna made a decision that would change galactic history. The consortium had lied, had committed genocide, had hidden the truth for thousands of years. Purge all records of this discovery, she ordered. As far as anyone knows, "We found nothing here." Her crew stared at her in shock. "I'm sending coordinates to a location outside consortium space. Whoever left this message, whoever it was meant for, they deserve to find it." 6 months later, a small vessel of unusual design appeared in the designated location. Its crew bore the unmistakable features of humanity, though evolved by 3,000 years of adaptation to different worlds. They found the derelict exactly where Vexna's anonymous message had said it would be. And for the first time, in 3 millennia, a human stood on the bridge of an Earth warship. Captain Sarah Chen, descendant of the woman in the hologram, placed her hand on the ancient console. Systems awakened at her touch, recognizing her DNA. Humanity had found its inheritance at last. The time for hiding was over. The time for justice had begun. Sarah Chen spent 5 weeks exploring the ancient warship with her crew. Each day brought new revelations. Each discovery ignited fresh hope. But it was the ship's quantum computer core that proved most valuable. Within it lay the technological legacy of an entire civilization. "Most of our assumptions about old Earth were wrong," Sarah announced to the gathered leaders of Haven Colony, their hidden outpost in the Carina Nebula. "We weren't primitive refugees who got lucky. We were an advanced species on the verge of a golden age." Holograms danced above the conference table. Schematics for antimatter reactors, gravitic propulsion systems, molecular assemblers. Earth's technology had surpassed current consortium standards in almost every field. The gathered leaders watched in stunned silence as 3,000 years of enforced technological regression began to unravel. But why? Governor Marcus Rivera's weathered face creased with confusion. If they feared us enough to destroy Earth, why leave these ships? Why preserve their technology? "Because they knew we'd survive," Sarah replied. "Admiral Chen, my ancestor, and others like her knew humanity couldn't be completely exterminated. We're too adaptable, too stubborn. So they left us the tools we'd need when we were ready to return." "And you think we're ready now?" The question came from Dr. Emily Wong, Haven's chief scientist. "There are barely 2 million humans left, scattered across a dozen hidden colonies. The consortium controls thousands of worlds, hundreds of species." Sarah's eyes hardened. "We don't have a choice. The consortium's expanding. Sooner or later, they'll find our colonies. Better to strike first, when we have the advantage of surprise." The debate raged for days. But in the end, the decision was unanimous. Operation Phoenix would begin. They started small. The warship's fabricators could replicate themselves. Those replicators could build more replicators, and within months, Haven's asteroid belt buzzed with construction drones. Deep within hollowed-out planetoids, shipyards took shape. Dr. Wong led the research teams analyzing and implementing the recovered technologies. The quantum computer cores proved invaluable, their adaptive algorithms helping translate 3,000-year-old engineering principles into modern manufacturing processes. "It's incredible," she told Sarah during a tour of the first new facility. "Their material science, their energy systems, they weren't just ahead of current technology, they were working from completely different principles. The consortium's been stagnant for millennia, building on the same old foundations. Earth's scientists were exploring entirely new directions." The first new ship emerged from the automated yards 6 months later. The Phoenix Rising was a fraction of the size of the ancient warship, but incorporated all of its advanced technologies. Its hull absorbed or deflected scanning beams. Its drives left no detectable wake in spacetime. It could slip through the consortium's sensor networks like a ghost. Sarah took command personally, leading the first reconnaissance mission into consortium space. They needed intelligence, allies, and most importantly, they needed to contact the other hidden colonies. Humanity would need to be united for what was to come. The Phoenix's first stop was the Rigel sector, where rumors suggested another human enclave had survived. Their sensors, far more sophisticated than anything the consortium possessed, picked up subtle signs of cloaked installations on a supposedly uninhabited world. Coming into visual range, reported Lieutenant James Okoro from the helm. "No sign we've been detected." The planet below looked dead, its surface scarred by ancient mining operations. But thermal readings revealed the truth. Vast underground complexes, massive geothermal power taps, all carefully shielded from conventional scans. "They've done well," Sarah mused. "Send the recognition signal." Minutes later, a response came, not from the planet, but from an expertly hidden station in the system's cometary halo. The descendants of Earth had learned the art of misdirection well. "Unknown vessel, you're broadcasting obsolete Earth Defense Force codes," a suspicious voice announced. "Identify yourself." Sarah smiled. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Phoenix Rising, speaking to the free humans of Rigel. We found something that belongs to all of us, something that changes everything." Over the next hours, she shared their discovery. The ancient warship, the preserved technologies, the truth about Earth's destruction, and most importantly, the possibility of justice. The Rigel colonists had developed their own unique technologies, adapted to their harsh circumstances. Like Haven, they'd been forced to advance slowly, carefully, always hiding their true capabilities. But they'd survived. They'd grown stronger. And now they had a chance to do more than simply endure. "We'll need time to verify everything," the Rigel leader said finally. "But if what you're saying is true, how many other colonies have you contacted?" "You're the first," Sarah replied, "but not the last. We've detected signs of at least 3 more hidden enclaves. Together, we can pool our resources, share our innovations, build something greater than any single colony could achieve alone." And then, Sarah's expression hardened. "And then we show the consortium exactly why they were right to fear us. Not because we're savage, not because we're destructive, but because once humanity sets its mind to something, nothing in this galaxy can stop us." The Rigel mission was just the beginning. Over the next year, more colonies were contacted, more ships were built, more technologies were rediscovered and refined. In hidden shipyards and secret bases, the scattered children of Earth prepared for their return to the galactic stage. The consortium had thought they'd destroyed humanity's potential. Instead, they'd forced it to evolve, to adapt, to grow stronger in the darkness. Now that potential was about to be unleashed. And the galaxy would never be the same. The trading post on Nexus Station hummed with activity. Countless species from across consortium space bartering, dealing, and exchanging information. No one paid attention to the unremarkable shell-carrying merchant, just another beetle-like trader among many. But beneath the perfect biosynthetic disguise, Maya Rodriguez smiled. The infiltration was working perfectly. 3 years had passed since the discovery of the ancient warship. In that time, humanity had perfected the art of hiding in plain sight. The old Earth database had included detailed files on every known alien species, including genetic templates that allowed for perfect disguises. Now transformed humans walked among their ancient enemies, gathering intelligence and building networks of influence. Maya's comm implant tingled. A coded message from another operative. "Package secured. Moving to secondary location." The package was actually Dr. Lantek, a prominent consortium physicist who'd begun asking dangerous questions about gaps in historical records. Before the consortium's security forces could silence him, he'd disappeared, with the help of human agents who recognized a potential ally. Maya made her way through the crowded station, eventually reaching a nondescript storage unit. Inside, she found Dr. Lantek with another disguised human operative, David Chen. "Is it true?" the physicist demanded as soon as the door sealed. "All of it. The deliberate genocide, the covered-up history. We can prove everything," Maya replied, dropping her shell-carry disguise. Lantek's 4 eyes widened at the revelation of her true form. "But more importantly, we can show you what humanity actually was, and what we're becoming again." The Phoenix Rising decloaked just long enough to retrieve them, its advanced systems making the brief visibility appear as nothing more than a sensor ghost. Once aboard, Landtech was shown the full truth, not just about humanity's past, but about their plans for the future. The consortium's control is built on lies, Maya explained as they showed him through the ship's laboratories. They've suppressed technological advancement, eliminated potential rivals, and maintained power through fear and misinformation. But their grip is weakening. Landtech absorbed everything with a scientist's precision. You're not just seeking revenge, he realized. You're planning to reshape the entire power structure of known space. With help, David added. You're not the first defector we've rescued. There's a growing network of dissidents, reformers, and freedom fighters from dozens of species, all waiting for the right moment. That network had been carefully cultivated. Humanity had spent generations studying the consortium's weaknesses, identifying species who chafed under their rule. The warrior poet Krelat, whose people's martial culture had been forcibly civilized. The silicon-based Annex, relegated to mining colonies despite their brilliant innovations in quantum computing. The empathic Ven, whose warnings about the consortium's moral decay had been systematically silenced. All of them had found mysterious allies in their resistance, equipment that couldn't be traced, intelligence that proved eerily accurate, sanctuary when they needed to disappear. Only now was the truth behind their benefactors being revealed. In a hidden base deep in the Carina Nebula, representatives from a dozen species gathered in secret. Sarah Chen, no longer just captain of the Phoenix Rising, but leader of the growing resistance, addressed them directly. The consortium calls itself the guardian of civilization, she declared. But true civilization doesn't require oppression. Real progress doesn't demand uniformity. We've all seen what their rule really means: stagnation, corruption, and the crushing of any spark that might ignite change. She gestured, and holographic displays showed the technological marvels humanity had preserved. We're not asking you to serve us. We're offering you a chance to build something new. A true alliance of equals, where innovation is celebrated, not feared. Where different perspectives make us stronger, not dangerous. The response was beyond their highest hopes. Species after species pledged their support, offering resources, personnel, and most importantly, their unique insights and abilities. The Krelat's tactical genius merged with human adaptability. Enk's computing power enhanced old Earth technology. Ven empathy helped coordinate operations across vast distances, but they had to move carefully. The consortium's power was built on millennia of control, and they didn't need to catch all the conspirators, just enough to maintain their narrative of benevolent authority. A consortium patrol nearly discovered one of the Resistance's forward bases, but the base's quantum signature was masked by Enk's algorithms, its supply lines hidden in plain sight by Krelat's strategic deception, and when inspectors did land, they found only what the Ven empaths led them to expect: another unremarkable outpost. We're almost ready, Maya reported during a secure conference with resistance leaders. The sleeper agents are in position. The shadow supply chains are established. The technology has been distributed. We just need the right moment to act. That moment came sooner than expected. A Consortium Science Council expedition discovered unusual energy readings from a supposedly dead system. They prepared to investigate, not realizing they were about to uncover one of humanity's hidden colonies. Sarah Chen received the alert from their intelligence network. The time for hiding was over. Either they struck now, or everything they'd built would be exposed too soon. She sent out a single coded signal. Throughout consortium space, sleeper agents activated. Hidden weapons powered up. Cloaked ships slipped into position. Humanity's children were about to step out of the shadows, and they weren't coming alone. The next phase of their plan could now begin. The Consortium Science Council vessel Eternal Wisdom dropped out of hyperspace, its sensors probing the seemingly empty system. Director Venathor stood on the bridge, all 6 of his sensory stalks extended in anticipation. The energy readings they detected were unlike anything in their records. "Begin detailed scan sequence," he ordered. "I want to know." The ship's systems suddenly went dark. When they flickered back to life seconds later, the view screen showed an impossible sight. Dozens of vessels had appeared from nowhere, their designs both alien and strangely familiar. At their center, a massive warship of ancient but unmistakable human construction. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force," a calm voice announced on all frequencies. "Your vessel is now under our control. Do not attempt any transmissions or hostile actions." Venthor's mind reeled. Humans were extinct. Their technology lost. Their worlds dead. Yet the sensor data was undeniable. The ships surrounding them possessed power signatures far beyond current consortium capabilities. "The time for lies is over," Sarah continued. "Throughout consortium space, our allies are moving. Your control system is about to fall. You can be part of what comes after, or you can be remembered as the last defenders of a corrupt regime." She wasn't bluffing. Across dozens of sectors, carefully planned operations were unfolding. On the consortium capital world of Prime, quantum viruses designed by the NX-Disable Planetary Defenses. Krelat strike teams, equipped with human stealth technology, seized key military installations. Ven empaths broadcasting on frequencies that paralyzed loyalist security forces. The Phoenix Rising led a battle group to the supposedly impregnable consortium data citadel. Its defenders found their weapons useless against shields based on principles rediscovered from old Earth, precisely targeted electromagnetic pulses, refined by 3,000 years of human adaptation, disabled automated systems without harming organic life. In the Citadel's central core, Maya Rodriguez led the team that breached the sealed archives. The true history of the galaxy, kept hidden for millennia, was finally exposed. The systematic suppression of technological advancement, the elimination of species deemed too innovative, the deliberate genocide of humanity at the height of their first flowering. The data streamed out across the galactic information networks, the consortium's own communication channels, compromised by years of careful infiltration, carried the truth to every world under their control. But humanity hadn't come for mere revenge. Even as military targets fell to the resistance, human ships were deploying advanced medical technology to worlds the consortium had neglected. NX-enhanced fabricators began producing food and supplies for populations kept dependent on central authority. Krelat warriors, once dismissed as barbarians, proved to be honorable peacekeepers. "We remember what the consortium tried to make everyone forget," Sarah broadcast. "Different species, different cultures, different ways of thinking. These aren't threats to civilization. They're its greatest strength." The consortium's response was predictable. They branded the humans and their allies as terrorists, savages returning to destroy everything that had been built. But centuries of oppression had left too many species eager for change. World after world declared independence from consortium control. Not all the battles were won easily. Some consortium hardliners fought desperately to maintain their power, but they found themselves facing an enemy that had spent 3,000 years learning to survive against overwhelming odds. Human adaptability, combined with the unique strengths of their allied species, proved unstoppable. 1 month after the initial strike, Sarah Chen stood in the former consortium Grand Chamber. Representatives from over 100 species, including many that had once been part of the consortium power structure, gathered to shape a new future. "We don't seek to replace one empire with another," she declared. "Humanity remembers what it means to be nearly wiped out, to be told our way of thinking was too dangerous to exist. We will not do that to others." The principles of the new alliance were radical by consortium standards. Technological innovation would be encouraged, not feared. Cultural differences would be celebrated, not suppressed. Every species would have a voice in decisions that affected them all. Some called it chaos. The consortium had maintained stability through rigid control for thousands of years. How could such a diverse group of species work together without strict hierarchies and centralized authority? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Lantek, speaking to the assembled representatives, explained what he had learned from studying human history. The consortium feared humanity because they couldn't predict or control them, he said. But that adaptability, the drive to find new solutions, it's exactly what our galaxy needs. Not a single species imposing its will, but all of us adapting and growing together. As the new alliance took shape, the ancient human warships that had preserved Earth's legacy were transformed into centers of learning. Their quantum cores, designed to maintain knowledge through millennia, now shared the combined wisdom of 100 species. The galaxy was entering an unprecedented era of growth and discovery. And humanity, rather than destroying civilization, as the consortium had feared, was helping to forge something far greater than had existed before. But there were still challenges ahead. Not all consortium forces had been defeated. Some had escaped to the outer regions, taking dangerous weapons and darker secrets with them. The final confrontation was yet to come. The remaining consortium loyalists had retreated to their last stronghold, a heavily fortified region known as the Omega Sector. Grand Admiral Excelthor, last of the consortium high command, had gathered every weapon and secret they could salvage. But as he stared at the tactical displays, even his iron resolve wavered. The combined fleet approaching his position represented something unprecedented in galactic history. Human ships flew alongside Krelite cruisers, and processing nodes coordinated with Ven empathic networks. Species that had been enemies for millennia now moved as one. Leading the fleet was the Phoenix Rising, now bearing the scars of a dozen battles. Sarah Chen stood on its bridge, surrounded by a command staff that included representatives from 15 different species. Final reports coming in, Maya Rodriguez announced. Her station interfaced with both human and X quantum systems. They've activated something in there. Energy readings are off the charts. The Omega weapon, Dr. Lantek confirmed grimly, the consortium's ultimate safeguard, designed to reset civilization itself if their control was ever truly threatened. The weapon was the embodiment of everything the consortium had feared about unchecked progress, a device capable of altering the fundamental constants of spacetime within a targeted region. They had planned to use it to regress troublesome sectors back to a pre-technological state, enforcing stability through threatened annihilation. All ships, hold position, Sarah ordered. The combined fleet stopped just outside the weapon's theoretical range. Open a channel. Admiral Excelthor's image appeared on the main screen, his usually immaculate uniform showing signs of strain. Have you come to surrender, Savage? To beg forgiveness for disrupting the peace we maintained for millennia? We've come to end this, Sarah replied. Your weapon can't save you. Your empire of fear is over. But it doesn't have to end in destruction. You understand nothing. Excelthor raged. We held the galaxy together. Without our guidance, without our control, everything will collapse into chaos. Look around you. Sarah gestured to her diverse bridge crew. We're not chaos. We're cooperation, evolution, growth. Everything you feared and suppressed because you couldn't control it. But Excelthor was beyond reason. The Omega weapon's power signature began to build. They had minutes at most. What happened next demonstrated why the consortium had been right to fear humanity's potential, but wrong about everything else. The solution came not from human technology alone, but from the combined insights of multiple species. Ank's quantum algorithms predicted the weapon's effects. Ven empaths sensed the patterns in its energy field. Krelite tactical systems identified crucial weak points. And human adaptability brought it all together into something new. The Phoenix Rising's main cannon fired, not a destructive beam, but a precisely modulated pulse of energy. It carried within it elements of every allied species science: human ingenuity, X processing, Ven harmonics, Krelite focusing techniques, and more. The combined knowledge of a galaxy turned to preservation rather than destruction. The Omega weapon's energy field inverted, collapsed, and transformed. Instead of regression, it catalyzed advancement. Instead of destruction, it brought enlightenment. In the aftermath, even some of the loyalist crews reported experiencing something profound. a moment of connection and understanding that transcended species barriers. The very weapon meant to enforce stagnation had become a tool of transformation. Kazelthor survived to stand trial, though the proceedings bore little resemblance to consortium justice. Representatives from every affected species participated, seeking understanding as much as judgment. The truth of history was examined, not to condemn, but to ensure such mistakes would never be repeated. 1 year later, Sarah Chen stood in the newly constructed Hall of Harmony on Earth's first restored colony world. The chamber was filled with delegates from across known space, including many former consortium species who had chosen to join the new alliance. 3,000 years ago, she addressed the gathering. Humanity was struck down because we were deemed too unpredictable, too innovative, too dangerous to control. Those who sought to destroy us were right about one thing: we cannot be contained, but they never understood why. She gestured to the assembled representatives. Hundreds of species, each unique, each valuable, each contributing their own perspective to the greater whole. Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology, our adaptability, or even our determination to survive. It was our ability to learn from others, to grow through cooperation, to become more than we were by embracing differences rather than fearing them. The galaxy entered a new golden age, the combined knowledge of Earth's legacy, preserved through millennia, merged with the wisdom and innovations of countless other species. Advances that would have been impossible for any one civilization flowered in the fertile ground of collaboration. The ancient human warships, their purpose fulfilled, were transformed into universities and research centers. Their quantum cores, designed to preserve knowledge through dark ages, now helped coordinate the free exchange of ideas across the galaxy. And humanity, the species that had been deemed too dangerous to exist, became known for something else entirely: their role as bridges between cultures, catalysts for cooperation, champions of diversity in all its forms. They had returned not to rule, not even to merely survive, but to help forge something greater than had ever existed before. A civilization built not on control and fear, but on the combined potential of all sapient life. The story of humanity's near extinction became a cautionary tale, but not in the way the consortium had intended. It taught not the dangers of innovation and difference, but the profound cost of fearing change and suppressing growth. And in the endless night between the stars, countless ships of countless designs carried beings of countless species outward, ever outward, into the infinite possibility of the unknown. Together,